Next.
It's really good luck. Next speaker is Vaysse, or Vaysse from IRIT in France. He's going to present automatic, well, we will see the title on the screen. Go ahead, Robin.
So hi everyone, so I'm Robin, and I'm here to present you our work named Automatic Extraction of Speech Rhythm Descriptor for Speech Intelligibility Assessment in the context of head and neck cancers. So we'll start with a little introduction on the subject. Head and neck cancer patients often have to undergo radiation and or surgical procedure following the head and neck cancers, and it can have an impact on their speech production. And speech therapists often have to assess their intelligibility in order to know whether it impacts their quality of life, and to do so they need to have an objective intelligibility assessment. But the fact is, speech therapists often know their patients and they are used to special voices, and so the assessment is not always totally objective. And so we think that automatic speech processing could help therapists to have a better objective measurement. And in this study, we wanted to try whether speech rhythm descriptors could be useful to predict speech intelligibility automatically. So we'll talk about the speech rhythm descriptors that exist and the ones that I used. So to begin with, what is speech rhythm? Speech rhythm is really complicated to define, and a lot of people have different definitions. But in our case, we decided to choose a definition, which is the recurrence of strong elements, which could be, for example, prominent syllables, and the temporal organization against weak syllables, against weak elements, which can be unstressed syllables. A typical speech rhythm descriptor which have been used are usually based on vocalic and consonantic intervals, like %C, %V, and all the ones from Ramus and colleagues, and also other speech descriptors, speech rhythm descriptors. But the problem with those classical speech rhythm descriptors is that they require a precise segmentation of the signal with phonemes, with segmentation of phonemes, and which have to be precise. But in our case, for people with really low intelligibility, we doesn't have access to precise segmentation. So it's a problem, and we cannot use all those rhythm descriptors. So we wanted to have speech rhythm descriptors that are more in line with our definition, and that did not require segmentation of the signal. To do so, we used a methodology based on the study of the slow modulations of the amplitude envelope of the signal. It's a methodology inspired by the work of Tilson and colleagues, and also the work from Lees and colleagues. So the methodology basically consists in extracting the amplitude envelope of the signal. Like here we have the signal in blue and the envelope of the signal in black. And then once we extract this envelope, we compute the Fourier Transform of this envelope, and we call it the envelope modulation spectrum, which is in orange here. And it reflects the temporal structuration of the speech, with, like, for example, if you take a look at this peak at around 4 Hz, it represents how the syllables are repeated, And if the more regular are the syllables, the more the peak will be high. And we have this peak at 4 Hertz, and also we have this little one at around 2 Hertz, which more correspond to like the repetition of the words. Like we have 500 milliseconds for the word, which roughly correspond to the 2 Hertz peak. And once the envelope modulation spectrum is extracted, we just have to get some feature on it, and we decided to choose a set of feature which is composed by the energy between the 0.5 and 4 Hertz band, which roughly correspond to the words and large syllables, like prominent syllable in French. And we also extracted the energy between the 4 to 10 Hertz band, which more correspond to syllables and phonemes, for example, and rapid speech elements. And we also computed the ratio between those two energies, which we will see later, but it is very important. And we extracted the energy between 3 and 6 Hertz, and also the frequency and amplitude of the most prominent peaks. So we applied the procedure to each speech recording we had. So we made this all this procedure. Sorry, my intelligibility is not that good. But we extracted 5-second sliding windows from the signal with a time step of 0.5 seconds between each time frame. And for each 5-second frame, we extract the envelope, we compute the Fourier Transform of the envelope, and we extract the set of features I told earlier. And then we aggregate all the features from each frame we computed by using mean, standard deviation, skewness, and kurtosis. So we end up with, I think, 28 features, the 7 features I told you before, times the 4 function here. So now, for the corpus we used in our experiments, we used a corpus of head and neck cancer from the C2SI project, which is composed of 105 recordings with 24 control speakers and 81 patients. And the thing that is interesting in this corpora is that it has been annotated, perceptually annotated by 6 health professionals. And we have 6 health professionals who had to assess intelligibility for all the speakers, and they had to rate it on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being totally unintelligible and 10 perfectly intelligible. And we focused on the reading task of the text La Chèvre de Monsieur Seguin by Alphonse Daudet, so a French one. So we tried to make intelligibility prediction based on our rhythm features, and we made a supervised modelization by using the perceptual intelligibility notation from the speech therapist. And we performed a feature selection step in order to reduce the number of features, which was a little bit high for our experiments, since we don't have too much data, and we wanted to focus only on the important features. And so we used the Lasso regression to only get the important features, and we used the selected ones with a supervector machine regressor, and we applied the leave one out validation schema. So we trained our SVM on all the speakers in blue, and we predict on the last speaker we didn't train on, and we repeat this step until all speakers have been predicted. So about the result, we saw that after the Lasso regression step, the most important feature was the mean ratio between the between the slow and high modulation energy. So the ratio between the 0.5 and 4 hertz energy, and the energy between 4 to 10 hertz band. So here we have an example. I'm sorry I can't make you listen an example, but here we have an LC speaker with an intelligibility of 10, and the green curve is the 0.5 to 4 hertz energy, and the pink one is the 4 to 10 hertz energy. And below we have head and neck cancer patients with an intelligibility score of 4.5, and we can see that their curves are really different. We are with the patient with the head and neck cancer patient having a really low 4 to 10 hertz energy here, and a high 0.5 to 4 hertz energy, which perceptually correspond to having a really bad pronunciation of syllables and phonemes, but we think that they compensate it by having a better structuring of the speech, with, for example, better structuring of the word, of the sentences, and so we have a better slow energy and bad fast energy. So we made a prediction with our supervector machine, and here we have our predicted speaker intelligibility, and here's the perceptual speaker intelligibility from the speech therapist. And we can see that in blue we have the control ones, and in red the patients. And we can see that we have a good Pearson correlation between our prediction and the intelligibility, perceptual intelligibility. And we have also a good root mean square error of 0.8. And we can also notice that for the two speakers with the lowest perceptual intelligibility, we had a poor prediction, but we don't really know why for now. But we have to make more experiments on this. So to conclude, we can say that rhythmic features are important predictor of speech intelligibility, and they will have to be taken into account for future work on automatic speaker intelligibility assessment. And we also saw that the ratio between fast modulating energy and slow modulated energy is a really important feature. And for our future work, we want to test also if our work wasn't too much influenced by speech rate, and we want to neutralize the speech rate, and also we want to test our procedure on different pathologies like Parkinson's disease, where we have some data collected, and with more recordings with, for example, people with really bad intelligibility, where we have bad results. So thank you for your attention.
I have a question.
Thank you. Just a very short question. What kind of cancer did you investigate?
What kind of what?
Maybe I missed it, but head and neck cancer, is it laryngeal, oral, tongue?
Laryngeal.
Laryngeal.
Yeah.
So it's a voice problem.
It's what?
A voice problem.
Yeah.
They have voice problems, not articulation problems.
Sometimes it is, I may be wrong, but I think there are also others on laryngeal, but I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, but
Then if you have listened to them, do they have a voice? Is their voice affected, or is it just articulation, like dysarthria?
it depends on the patients.
So you have a mix of
Yeah.
voice and dysarthria.
Yeah, I think.
Why do you think that one method will handle both voice problems and articulation problems?
It's difficult to say, but globally we have good result for everyone. So I might think yes, but maybe we could have split them, but we don't have that much data to make separate.
Yeah, but if you have good speakers, they are good in every way. So
Yeah.
you will be good in projecting or predicting their cases. So it's the bad speakers that are bad in different ways.
Yeah.
So the one has no voice and the other cannot articulate. And I don't see why they should have the same type of problems. For instance, if you have no voice, you have not really rhythmic problems. You can make the same speaking rate, just unintelligible. If you're missing half your tongue.
Yeah, but in fact, the study was not to give a tool for automatic intelligibility assessment. It's just to say that if you want to make a tool, you'll have to take speech rhythm into account, and it has no pretension to say that my tool will can make automatic predictions.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about the plot that you showed, maybe 2 slides before the end.
I don't know if I can show them.
It was a sort of scatter plot.
Yeah.
With the regression line.
This one?
Yeah, this one. Well, so what is here shown? Along the horizontal and vertical axis.
Okay. So here we have our prediction of speaker intelligibility.
Yeah.
And in x-axis we have the perceptual speaker intelligibility, which have been annotated by speech therapists. So we have the prediction between 0 to 10 and the perceptual one between 0 to 10.
Yeah, sorry. The reason to ask is I wondered whether the line, the diagonal line, is a regression line.
No, it's just the objective, the perfect perfect line.
Otherwise, my question would be to redistribute your data a bit, not to have a bias towards the top right. Huh?
Okay.
So, okay, thanks.
Just one question to clarify. You showed the plots of the ranges of the frequency,
yeah,
and it was a standardized reasoning task, right?
It was what?
Standardized reasoning task.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right from the plot, you could see that the patients, they took quite a lot longer. Do you think that also affects it a lot?
In fact, we don't really know if it affects, and that's why we want to make more work on the speech rate problem, and to see if our method don't just is a really big experiment just to compute speech rate, but we don't think that's it, and because I tried now, but yes, we should have taken speech rate into account.
Last question.
Andreas Meyer, FAU Erlangen-Nürnberg. Do you think the changes or the slurred speech that you observed is also related to the pathology? And the last time I worked with head and neck cancer patients, they sometimes also have problems with alcoholism and things like that heavily affect the articulation. Could that be a reason why you see those features becoming important?
I'm not sure, but for me the reason is what I told earlier, is that for speakers with bad articulation, it's they will have to compensate their lack of articulation on the syllables by better structuring the sentences and the word. And by listening the recordings, it was like they speak like this with really regular packs, and but with really bad syllables articulation. Don't know if it answers the question.
Thank you, Robin.
Let's thank